It's 7v7 soccer. Smaller the pitch, faster the action. The world's elite soccer clubs compete for their share of a massive $5 million prize. Catch World Sevens on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max December 5th through the 7th.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Watch Jay Kelly December 5th, only on Netflix.
Every leap in American history has needed breakthrough energy.
Ignition, liftoff.
Now, AI is here, and Chevron is working to power it. We're aiming to develop multi-gigawatt power plants near data centers, designed with future pathways to lower carbon intensity. AI gets the power it needs, communities get the jobs, and the grid stays strong. Powering AI today builds America's next superpower.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, Top 14, PROD2 and National. This week, the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup are back, so we'll be focusing a little bit on that with a very special guest, but of course the brilliant town, cities, bars, restaurants, people, stadia that hopefully a few listeners, if they're heading out for said games, will be experiencing this weekend. Rob, we like to start every episode I like to start every episode by commenting on which bit of French rugby kit you are wearing. It is the 1st of December, Advent calendars are open, and out of the box is the Section Palois Christmas extravaganza.
I would say Alpine, but surely it'd be Pyrenean. It's kind of got the Alpine wintry motif, hasn't it, of some pine trees and some snowflakes, I guess they are.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Does it have Po or Palois on it, or does it just say
section? I think it is literally just section.
Which I like, because if you have no idea about French rugby and Section Palois, which is already a fairly interesting name for the British or the English speaker, just wandering around with a shirt that says section on it is quite niche, I would say. So fair play. Your boys will be in action this weekend against Northampton, which is very, very exciting. Should be a cracker. But your first love, Leicester Tigers, Rob, are travelling to, in terms of European Cup royalty, La Rochelle are right up there in recent times.
Yeah.
And your boys, Leicester Tigers, are heading over. And we're going to go straight in. We caught up just a moment ago with a guy who's had an amazing start to the season. Fantastic, storied career in France and England, and will be part of that side looking to ransack the Marcel de Flandre. Billy Searle, let's take it away. Okay, looking ahead to the return of Champions Cup action this weekend, one of the biggest fixtures in the calendar, obviously, Leicester's trip down to the Atlantic coast, down to La Rochelle. And really, really excited today to be joined by someone who spent plenty of time in France, now plying his trade at fly half for Leicester Tigers. It's the number 10, Billy Searle. Billy, welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast. How's it all going?
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, all going well, to be fair. Enjoyed being back in England, but yeah, it'd be nice to be back out in France this week and back in the Champions Cup. I've played in there a couple of years, so it'd be nice to be back in that competition, and La Rochelle, exciting place to go. So yeah, it should be an exciting week.
Fantastic. And did you ever play at La Rochelle in your couple of seasons there, or would it be a first time trip to the de Flandre?
No, it'd be the first for me actually. I've played in quite a few in English teams playing in the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup, and then obviously wanted to lose. So it's one of the only places I haven't played out there, I think. So I'm excited to experience it there. I've heard good things about the atmosphere and the city itself. So I'm really excited to get out there and hopefully rip in this weekend.
How long do you guys get to stay out there? Like when are you guys off? When do you get much time in and around these towns if you go out with an English team?
It just depends on the flight on the Friday, really. And normally you go out the day before. So for us, we're playing Saturday. So we'll go out Friday, and sometimes if you get out there a bit early, you can have a little walkabout on Friday night or Friday afternoon. So that's always quite nice. And then Saturday morning, if it's an evening kickoff. So I think we're playing at 5:30 on Saturday. So better go out for a coffee in the morning, which would be nice, and have a little look about, practice my French again, see if I remember any of it. and we're actually staying Saturday night, which is quite nice. I think all the boys always get a bit excited when you stay the night after the game.
Nice.
You know, very professional, but you know, it's nice to have a little look at the city on a Saturday night, maybe.
Do you know anyone that's playing there? Like, you'd be too young for Exeter for Jack Noel, wouldn't you? Like,
well, yeah, I know of Jack Noel, obviously from playing against him, and we're both from the same area, both from Devon way, so I wouldn't know him that personally, but obviously know, say hello to, and played against him quite a few times in England. But yeah, I don't know many other people there, to be fair.
It's a tight turnaround for Friday evening against Leinster. I like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We obviously got a tight turnaround, but I think we're staying Saturday night because it's an evening kickoff. It's quite rushed to get back after the game, so we'll stay Saturday night, then come back Sunday morning, and then we'll probably be in on Monday for like a recovery sort of day and a learning day ahead of Leinster the week after, because it's a short week. So yeah, it's not ideal, but as you used to, it's probably players. You know, sometimes you have short weeks depending on fixtures, so it's not too bad.
And Billy, before we get into some of the real French rugby nerdiness, obviously first season at Tigers, to all intents and purposes, it looks like going great guns. It looks like it's been a fantastic move. Like, how have you found it, the transition out of Agen into kind of English rugby royalty, I guess?
Yeah, it's gone. It feels like it's flown by, to be fair, from my time in France over 2 years, but I've loved it, to be fair. Settled in really well. It's quite nice coming into an environment where there's been quite a bit of change, I guess. So it's not like I'm one of the only new players, a new head coach and Jeff. And yeah, it's been really good. I've settled in well. I feel like I'm playing some of my best rugby right now. And the boys have all really sound, and I've settled in nicely that side of things as well, which really helps, you know, settling in the environment and everyone making me feel welcome. So yeah, I can't complain. It's nice to be back in England at a team like Leicester, you know, such a big historic club in England with such quality in the team and such a young squad still. So it's very exciting, and it's been such a good start to the season. So hopefully, you know, there's no reason why we can't kick on and really achieve something this season, which is the plan.
I've got a bit of a cheeky question. There
we go.
On being back in England. I saw on Twitter on Friday night after your excellent performance against Newcastle Red Bulls, someone said that you were the fourth best English fly half. So has Steve Borthwick been on the blower yet?
No, I've had nothing from Steve Borthwick. I don't know who tweeted that. I might be my dad. But you know, I don't think of that too much. But you know, there's some quality tens in England, and I feel like I'm playing well, so you never know. But I'm just here to try and be number one at Leicester to start with, and try and set myself there and keep playing well. I feel like I'm playing some good rugby and enjoying my time back in England. So yeah, it's nice to hear people tweeting that, but I don't know who that was.
Did it? I take it then it didn't play any role into your decision about to move back.
Was it just in the back of your mind a little bit? Yeah, like when Leicester came in interested, for me it's sort of a no-brainer. Like 2 years in France I loved, but I did miss, you know, being a bit closer to family and friends, and being back in English Premiership. You know, it's a quality league, and I had a great year last year in PROD2, but I always wanted to get back in the top 14 or Premiership this year, to be honest. I felt like that was where I belonged and I felt my quality. So I wanted to play. So that was my aim always. And when Leicester came available, you know, it's sort of a no-brainer. It's a big club, it's back in England. Yeah, sort of the first team I've come to in England with such a big fan base like that. And yeah, it's just one of those things that timing-wise, it was perfect for me. So yeah, I was over the moon when they came in and managed to get the deal done, which has gone really well so far.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to see how it's all kind of working out from afar. You mentioned that you had 2 years in France. So for the people maybe not familiar, could you just give us a bit of a potted history of your movements over those 2 seasons? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 clubs, a couple of seasons, some pretty big names in there as well. So yeah, if you could give us the inside line.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it short. Hands sort of got forced really moving the club about a little bit, but obviously after Worcester went bust, I had a few months not doing a lot, and I knew Toulouse were quite interested to bring me in as the World Cup med joker, which is like a 5-month contract basically to start with. So when a club like that comes in, you know, I was pretty excited about that opportunity and I couldn't really turn it down. So I would have took that over a year, potentially staying in England at the time. So when that came in, it was a no-brainer for me. So I signed for Toulouse for the 5 months. After being there for 1 week, Biarritz came in with like a 3-year offer for me, 3-year contract. And after going 5 months after Worcester went bust with like no income, it was tough to turn that security down. Because at the time I didn't know if Toulouse were going to keep me after that 5 months. So I spoke to them pretty honestly, and they were like, look, we understand if you have to take that deal, there's a spot for you here at Toulouse, but we need to see you play first, you know. And rugby, like a lot of things can change. So they sort of understood my decision. I said, look, I can't turn that down financially. And Biarritz is obviously a massive club as well. I know it's PROD2, but they're historically a massive club. And everyone I spoke to said how nice it is a place to live and stuff like that. So sort of took that deal. It was a bit of a tough time because, I wanted to try and kick on at Toulouse and stay there. But with obviously the quality they got coming back. And then it turned out a couple of weeks later, Entmac got injured just in the World Cup training camp. And then I ended up playing really well at Toulouse. Really enjoyed it there, settled in well with the coaches. And in the end, they did try and keep me. But the conversations they had with Biarritz president, he wouldn't let me stay and stuff like that. So all that happened, which is a shame because I would have loved to have stayed there. Such a good club and such a good city. It was a bit of a whirlwind, but then I went to Biarritz. It's tough rugby-wise, settling in, going from Toulouse to there. It was tough rugby-wise, to be honest. It's a bit dated, some of the facilities and the coaching and a bit like that. So it was tough. And then obviously their president ended up selling the club in March then. So my contract was a bit up in the air there as well. There was talk that the club might go bust. It was sort of a case of if you get something else, the club will let you leave because I'm not sure if we can pay you next year. So it was, again, after Worcester going bust, I was like, I can't be in this situation again. So initially signing 3 years there, and then obviously Argent came in really keen for me with a good offer. So that's my hand sort of got forced to leave Biarritz, and obviously I was grateful for Argent to come in. Again, I was hopeful to go back to the top 14 or Premiership at the time. It was like late in the season, it was June time. So yeah, I went to Argent then, and again, enjoyed my time there, playing week in, week out. You guys obviously know PROD2 in England, it's not quite the same as the Championship. You're still getting massive crowds. It's like some quality teams in there, some quality players, but I think playing week in, week out, leading the team out there, and it really brought on my game last year, and it's put me in great stead coming back to England now after having a year when I've played every game nearly and every game at Biarritz. And obviously from time with Toulouse, it's been cool. I ideally wouldn't have moved around as much, but I've met some great people. I've got some great mates out there now, and Biarritz is one of my favourite places I've ever lived. So I don't regret any of the journey, but yeah, it's a bit of a whirlwind. And then obviously Leicester have come in now, and it's all sort of worked out quite nicely to come back, and things are starting to go well over here. So yeah, I've loved my time out there, and such a good experience for me rugby wise and generally in life to grow up a little bit, but also, play week in, week out, like I said. So yeah, I don't regret any of it and really enjoyed it, to be honest.
I've got to pick up Rich on his intro. He didn't give you the full intro because you are officially a top 14 winner, are you not?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Did you get the medal?
Yeah, I got a medal and the little plaque thing they get. Obviously, you'll get a little plaque, like the big trophy they win. You'll get a little one of them. So that was quite cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's nice to have a little top 40 medal. And obviously, they won the double in the end that year. So it would have been, they actually invited me to the final of that, but it was a clash of a wedding, but it would have been class to go to. But it's such a good club. Like, even the year I went to Argent, they basically said, because it's an hour away, come up one day and they want to come up for lunch to lose. And I went up and they presented me with like a shirt, 2 shirts from the final, a medal and the plaque. And I was like, this is amazing. What a club. And then also when I went to Jack Willis's wedding this summer, I was a groomsman there, and he said, I've got a little present for you. And I was like, what's that going to be? And it was a watch from Toulouse. So basically anyone who played 5 games that season, because they won a double, got given a watch. And I played 5 top 14 games. So I got given a watch. Like, a club like that to give me a watch a year on after, like, no need to give me a watch. It just shows how good a club it is and how much they appreciate what you did there. So, stuff like that. It's such an amazing club. And yeah, it was cool to get that as well.
That's cool. When you're like getting invited up for that sort of thing, who are you talking to at the club? Like, I don't know. Is it like Ugo Moller? Is it like the president? Is it Jack Willis? Like, who is it?
No, I spoke to Ugo Moller a little bit, but it's mainly Jerome Kazabou. He's like head of recruitment there and director of sort of how things go there. So he's in contact a lot. And yeah, he sort of messaged me saying, love to come up whenever it suits me. And I just said I can come up for like 1 week and a day off. And yeah, it's great. I went in, coach's office, said hello to everyone. It was like I never left, They're so nice to you and welcoming you and actually cared what you've been doing. So they've been watching me play for Biarritz and Argent and stuff like that. And, you never know, one day could end up back there. I loved my time there, so you never know. But yeah, just little things like that show how good a club it is, to still invite you back up, to treat you like that, to give you the medal and stuff like that when you've left. I know a lot of teams wouldn't do that. So yeah, it's such a cool thing. And yeah, I still obviously follow them a lot. And Jack Willis, one of my best mates there. So it's a great club. I loved it. I loved my time there.
And how was, when you first get there, you obviously say you're on a medical joker 5-month contract, sort of overlapping with the World Cup. That sounds pretty tough going, particularly for a 10, right? Like, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe your French was tip-top before and you settled in really nicely, but that's quite a daunting challenge at what is arguably the biggest club in the world. So how kind of, was it just an amazing challenge experience? Was it pretty daunting and tough going in? How were those first few months there?
Yeah, I can't lie and say my French was good when I got there. To be honest, I had nothing. I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, we all know like how big a club it is and probably the best team in Europe at the time. So it was like I was excited, obviously, and just wanted to go and take it in my stride and enjoy the experience. And obviously, Jack Willis being there, I spoke to him a lot about it, and I went out to visit him before I signed in March and met everyone a little bit. So I was a bit apprehensive, I guess, but again, I was just excited to get there. But then after a week or two, I was like, what am I doing here? I can't even speak French. I was in meetings, I didn't understand a word. It was quite tough. And I remember like one of my first training sessions, Ugo Moller was shouting at me and I don't know what he was saying. I was like, is he shouting at me in a good way or a bad way? Like, I'm not sure exactly what he's saying, but I was just not going down in this conditioned game. I was like putting it through my legs. We had to go down and present apparently. But I didn't know what he was saying to me. And I was like, I don't know if he's saying good things or bad things here. So I can remember at the start, there's a few things like that where I'm like, I don't know if he's saying. So it's quite nice in a way you sort of just go out and play. But to be fair, a lot of them can speak very good English and like a lot of the boys speak very clean English. So it's great for them to help me out and they all look after you. And there's a good foreign crew there as well who really took me in their wing. Like, you know, a lot of other players who are in the same boat, but they obviously could speak French. But then after I learned French more and more, it helped a lot. Like my second year in France, I could understand, I could talk it. And yeah, I'd suggest to anyone who goes out there to learn a little bit before because I probably missed the boat there a little bit. But I was just sort of enjoying it and took it all in. And they're all really good with me. And a lot of them can speak really good clean English. Like Patrino, the backs coach, he spoke clean English and he helped me a lot as well. So yeah, it was funny. And some days I can't lie, I went home, I was like, what am I doing here? But all in all, it's such a cool experience. And now I can sort of speak French a bit brokenly, but such a cool life skill. And yeah, it grew me as a person, let alone just as a rugby player. So yeah, it's cool.
With then the move to Biarritz, so we actually did see you playing a game. It was against Valence, was it, Rob? It was,
yeah.
I remember it was freezing.
It was so cold. and you said when you were talking, and that was the first time like we'd been to Biarritz, and it did feel like an aging relic of like a club. Yeah, like everything just felt a little bit tired. Anyway, sorry, go on, Rich.
No, I was going to say you've obviously gone from one storied club to another, but at very different points in their kind of current or then trajectory. And as you mentioned at the top, there was a little bit of kind of uncertainty at Biarritz at the time. So, I mean, that must be particularly difficult with, as you say, everything that went on at Worcester. You go from, I guess, the kind of most certain bubble of them all in Toulouse down to Biarritz. So because I think that was the season as well. You had like Jonathan Joseph was there.
Yeah.
There are a few quite big name signings.
Quite a good side, yeah.
Came in and yeah, just interested to know like how it sort of played out that year, because from afar it looked tricky.
Yeah, it was. If I went there, I was a bit. I can't lie. When I first went, I was a bit frustrated that they wouldn't let me stay at Toulouse because Toulouse wanted to keep me for the rest of the season, and they're pretty confident they could. Cause I remember playing in the USA when we went there with Toulouse and played really well again. And Ugo Moller pulled me over in the airport before we flew back, and he was like, "We want to keep you. We're going to speak to Biarritz and we'll sort it out." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like Toulouse got involved, Didier got involved, the president. I was like, "They'll sort it. It's Toulouse." But Biarritz held firm, and I understand that I signed a contract. It's on me, which is fine. So when I got there, I was a bit frustrated about that initially, and then when I turned up, and yeah, it's just it was tough because you go from an environment like that and a Premiership what I was used to, and everything was quite backwards and quite outdated. It's very old school. Like the gym hadn't been updated in 20 years, like little things like that. There's no recovery facilities. We're training on like a bog of a pitch all the time, and the pitch itself was a bit of a bog. So it was tough. I remember my first game was away somewhere, Aurillac maybe, and it was tipping down with rain. They were playing on like a muddy pitch. It was like -1, and I was like, what have I done here? I was like, and like JJ and obviously Zach Cabrigi and people like that were there, which helped a lot. I knew Zach from my time at Wasps as well, so there's 2 familiar faces. But in the end, I just sort of grew to just get on with it and just try and help the boys there and try and make the club better if I could. And Simon Maddox came in after Christmas and really helped the club as a coach, a Kiwi guy, so he obviously understood how we looked at the game. He's a fly off himself, so I really enjoyed working with him. And then I just tried to really enjoy the experience. And as a city itself, I loved it. Like it's one of the best places I've ever lived. And in the summer, it's amazing down there, and the people are all so friendly. Like I used to get all my food in the local market. Like I've never done that before and stuff like that. So it's cool, like the culture, how different it is down there. But yeah, rugby wise, I ain't gonna lie, it was tough to start with. The level of detail and the level of training was poor, and that's just how it was. But it got better and better, and we tried to really kick it on as like people like Jonathan Joseph and that. We'd really try to push it. But it's tough when you've been used to a tough environment to go into that. So I can't lie, it was a difficult transition, but again, I think I played every game when I got there, other than a couple. So I had another good year there, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was just a lot different. You're doing a lot more as a 10 there, whereas in Toulouse, you're more of a facilitator, for example, whereas at Biarritz, I'll be doing a lot more and trying to lead the team in that way. So yeah, it was cool, but it was a tough transition initially.
I think like my takeaway from the game that we saw then was like you guys were looking pretty good. You know, you'd mentioned you and JJ, but like generally across the squad, you guys looked a better side than Valence, and it kind of I think you were kind of around the relegation area at that point, and it was kind of you guys will pull yourself clear now, and then he never really kicked on from that point. It just kind of continued to be a bit of a struggle until kind of about 3 games out, and you guys kind of got yourself safe with a few games to go, didn't you? But it was pretty hairy for quite a while.
Yeah,
and that must be what's the kind of mood within the squad then, and when you've got we're a great club, but we might go down, and who knows what the president and the owners are going to do with the club, and because it like went up for sale for like €1, didn't it? And stuff
Yeah,
like
exactly that.
So what are like the players saying at that point?
Like you say, I think it was because of all that stuff going on behind the scenes. It probably didn't help. Maybe with the French lads as well, they probably knew more about it, and a lot of boys were out of contract, so it was tough, I think. And then, like you say, I got there, they were just above the relegation zone, and it sort of turned a little bit at the start, and then I started to lose a lot of games. So that's what's tough when you're losing, and I think the confidence in the group was very poor. A lot of boys out of contracts. It was quite a negative environment, and yeah, it just didn't feel like a tight team, and that's probably why we didn't do that well on the pitch. But then, luckily, we got this club safe, but like you said, the president was trying to sell it in March, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and we were told that some of our contracts won't be paid and stuff like this the season after. So it's a hard place to be when that's going on. And after the experience I had at Worcester, I was just like, and I know Zach Cabrighi had the same thing with Wasps when they went bust, and we're both just like, this can't happen to us again, can it? Not out here. So it was a tough time, and luckily I think they're a bit more stable now, and they seem to be doing a bit better, which is great to see, because I've still got some good mates there, like Tyler Morgan as well. I got really close with him, and obviously Zach's still there. So I hope it should be such a good club. You know, the history of that club is amazing. The fan base is class. So if they can sort of update the club and get the right coaching in and the right structure, hopefully that club can move back. And there's no reason why the base they've got and the support they get, they can't be back in the top 14, I don't think. But yeah, it was a tough time, but hopefully they can turn it around.
And talking then of sort of history, fan base, you then had a year at Agen, the one just gone. I think again probably played pretty much the whole season. And I mean, again, from afar, everything we saw, I think it universally agreed that you personally had a fantastic season in what was again quite a tricky season as a team.
Yeah.
Bit of a theme emerging here, perhaps. But how do you reflect on your time at Agen? Because again, they've had a pretty good start to the season. We felt obviously with the likes of yourself and a couple of others sort of leaving. So, you know, how was it for you going in there again, starting afresh? And did you maybe feel last year that was a side that had the kind of nuts and bolts in place to be doing and, you know, sort of impressing regularly in the second division as they are right now?
Yeah, it was a tough transition again, moving to another team. But when I first got there, like the facilities there, like opposite of Biarritz, it was brand new gym, like really good recovery facilities, like everything that was there for you. And I thought the squad there was way better than how we did last year. I don't really know why it didn't really click, but we tend to win at home and lose away and stuff like that. And I really struggled with the mindset sometimes where they rotate the team a lot for away games. And like in England, you're playing back to back. If you're fit, you're playing. We fit the best team, you know, no matter what. Whereas in France, it seems like away games is not as big a focus, especially in PROD2. So I really struggled with that side of things and had conversations with coaches about that. I'm like, there's no reason why we can't go away at, I don't know, Nevers and win, you know? It's like they'll change 10 players. I'm like, why are we changing 10 players? Let's pick our best team. So that side of things I really struggled with. And as a player, I want to be winning. I want to be trying to lead things. And then you change a lot of the players and it's tough, you know? So I think that had a bit of a say on it. And again, we probably lacked a bit of direction last year as a team and maybe from the coaching aspect side of things. But I knew there was potential in that squad. In my eyes, it was a lot stronger squad than what I had the year before at Biarritz. And you can see this year they've clicked a bit as well and they're looking a bit better. So it's good to see. And I've got a lot of mates there still. And I really enjoyed my second year. I think my French was a lot better. I got closer with a lot of the French boys there, whereas probably at the previous clubs, I was wanting more with the foreigners and stuff like that. So my year 2 was actually really enjoyable. Like you said, I think I had a good year personally. Would have liked to have won more games with the boys, but in terms of lifestyle and enjoying my time in France, I really enjoyed it there. And I was back to Toulouse. So I was there a lot, seeing Jack and people like that. So yeah, I think the club there is really good. And I can see why they're doing well this year because they had the foundations in place. It's still quite a young squad, good French core, and they've added quite well. So it's good to see them doing well this year for some of my mates who are still there.
It was a pretty similar kind of season though, in a way, to like your one at Biarritz, where it was kind of, I don't know, it feels like the odd really, really good performance and then conspire to lose for like 4 weeks in a row. How did that compare? Was it really similar, or did you feel safer, or like, how was the kind of differing situations, and the fan pressure as well, like with Argent? That's something that is kind of always talked about because of the history.
Yeah, they're very passionate, the fans. They'll let you know what they think, which is fair enough, I guess. But it was tough because I just felt the squad was a lot better there. And I don't know why it was so up and down. Like, it just felt like to me, like the mindset at home was so much different to when we played away again. So it was like, I don't know why, like we should have won so many more games there. We had such a better team, but just didn't really click, and a bit of inexperience maybe in certain places, and probably lacked a bit of depth in the whole squad to really kick on and challenge the top teams. But I have no idea why. Maybe I was a problem, but no, I don't know. It was frustrating, to be fair. Like I miss being in like that Toulouse environment where, you know, you're expected to win every game, and training's like almost harder than the games. You've got 215s going at it. Like I really missed that last year. Although I had a good season, and I enjoyed leading that team and trying to, you know, lead them to be better. But I did miss like that competitive training and competing for places and stuff like that. I feel like the training wasn't as hard, and you're not pushing each other. Like even being back at Leicester now, the training is almost harder than the games, you know, the level of competition in your place. So it's great. I feel like it brings the best out of everyone. So from that side of things, I feel like where PROD2 is probably, it's a bit easier training wise, and you sort of know you're going to play each week. And I used to drive myself as, you know, I wanted to be playing at the top level. That was my motivation. So I think a lot of it maybe comes down to the coaching side of things, and they've got a new coach this year, what I've heard good things about, and maybe that's a bit of a difference as well. You know, you can only do so much in certain structures. So I don't know what it was, but something just didn't quite click. But again, had a really good year and really enjoyed living there and the experience around it.
And Billy, then sort of winding it forward to where you are now, then obviously it's the trend in recent years, and I guess one of the reasons why we sort of started this podcast was the influx of players from UK-based clubs or an island over to France, and you've sort of bucked that trend a little bit. How are you sort of, as you say, you've gone for an environment where there's obviously some fantastic players, incredibly competitive rugby, but at times is not, you know, it doesn't sound like it's a like for like for what you experienced at Toulouse and what you now have at Leicester. Has it been, I don't know, have you almost been surprised with how quickly you've settled back into that sort of, you know, like really sort of top club environment? Has it been a bit of a culture shock, or was that, you mentioned the drive there and that sort of continually wanting to push things forward? Has it just been a really nice fit for you at the right time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's been a shock. I've been used to it, like say with Toulouse and like Wasps and Worcester, the teams I've been in England. It's almost been refreshing to be back in that environment, you know, like just little things like the nutrition they give you and the level of detail and the number of staff they've got looking after you in the gym. Like you've got proper S&C, you're not sort of doing your own thing, and the coaching you're getting is proper coaching. We've got a kicking coach again. I've worked with a kicking coach since Toulouse. So like even just little things like that, it's just nice to have that level of detail. And even in your position, like here, I've got James O'Connor I'm competing against, and they've got Orlando Bailey who's another 10, and Charlie Titchton. We've got 4 good 10s, and to have someone like O'Connor to compete with and work with, it's just cool, you know. And the level of training around the whole squad is great. And you know, you see our training on like a Tuesday, it's pretty tough, and like the level of training is just driving us forward. And I feel that's why probably we settled so well and started so well this season, is the level of training that Jeff's brought in, and the level of competitiveness throughout the whole squad is great. And I've missed that environment, missed that challenge. I've missed going to training. You know you're going to be competing every day, and if you're not, you're gonna struggle to keep your place. So I've really enjoyed it, and I've always pushed myself the last few years anyway in France, because I knew I wanted to come back this way or to go back to the top 14, like I said. So yeah, it's really nice to be back. It's been refreshing, and it's been great to be back in the Premiership and settled in so quickly. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for much more, to be fair.
Got to ask, like, obviously it's the kind of, it's a very competitive environment, but is there anything at Toulouse what is the secret? What is the secret sauce? Is there anything you can shed light on that's like, that is why Toulouse play like Toulouse? Is there anything in like training or coaching, or what's the secret sauce?
It's hard to say. People ask me that, like, what was it like there? What was it like? I was like, I don't know. I just feel like everything's done so well. They're not trying to flog you all the time, but you're training hard. It's sharp sessions, but it's quality sessions. And the level of 15 on 15 there is amazing. And I was like, we missed like 15 boys probably for the World Cup when they all came back. Again, you got to have like a whole 15 coming in. Then like the second team training, like it's just the level of standard of training was amazing. And I think everyone's pushing each other all the time there. So that you're always training at such a high quality. Yeah, when you go into games, it's a lot easier, and they do a lot of skill work, a lot of offloading work. They promote to keep the ball alive all the time. If it's on, give it like offload and stuff like that, which is probably a big different mindset to what it is in England. You know, they promote offloads and playing how they do. And one thing I noticed, all their forwards got good skills and quality like that, handling wise. So that's probably a big difference out there. But yeah, I just think how the club's run from top to bottom, it's such a good structure and such a good, just how everything is, how they look after you, everything on the pitch, everything off the pitch is taken care of for you. So like when you're going in, all you got to focus on is your rugby, getting better and pushing yourself and competing. So yeah, it's such a good club, and I love my time there. And yeah, it's a proper club, I think.
And but back to France this weekend, we mentioned it at the top, La Rochelle, obviously European royalty in recent years. Sort of how excited are you to get back out there, and not just because of your Saturday night post game? And I suppose B, do you prepare slightly differently at all for when there's the travel involved, set up slightly differently against a French team as opposed to a Prem side? Yeah, how you guys shaping up?
Yeah, I think it's excitement in the group when the Champions Cup comes. It's an exciting time. It's probably one of the biggest competition, really. To get away win in Europe's never easy. I've had a few playing at teams in England before, and when you win out there, it's special memories, and they're sort of the ones you look back on as a group. So I think there's excitement today, first day of the week. We sort of did a bit of a preview and stuff like that, and the excitement will just build. The training week doesn't really change too much. All it is you travel out Friday you'll be flying out instead of getting a bus up for an away game. So it's obviously exciting and going to a new country, and for me it's really exciting to be going back to France, and I'm excited to play in that atmosphere again because it's slightly different. The fans in France, they're louder when you get off the bus. It's like waves of people normally, and even goal kicking, you get noise the whole time. They're banging the drum, which is quite nice, quite like that. So it'll be cool to be back out there, and I think the boys all are just really excited to go out there.
They're there for the taking. Leicester had La Rochelle a couple of years ago in the Champions Cup, and we got pumped. I think Leicester sent a slightly weakened team, and La Rochelle just had all the big guns, and it was like, this is going to get ugly. Whereas now they've got such a bad injury list. They're there for the taking. It could be a famous win for Tigers.
Yeah, we've seen obviously they're not as high up as they have been, but they're still a quality side. They've got some stacked players in that team. But like you say, there's a real ambition in the squad to go out there and get the job done on Saturday. So we're going out there to win and give it our all. So hopefully we can go out, put a bit of a performance on, and really give it a go and give it a shot. There's nothing really to lose going out there. So hopefully we can go out there and pull off a away win in France. It'd be a special night if we do.
I'll be watching. Can't wait to see it unfold.
For the 10 Leicester fans that were able to get a ticket in the, I tried, but I couldn't get it. It was bloody tough.
Probably. I'm sure it'll be a sellout, and I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be amazing. I was just telling a few of the boys, it's going to be amazing. You can get off the bus. I'm sure it'll be waves of people and noise. It's cool atmosphere. It's always cool playing in France, and yeah, I'm excited to get back out there and hopefully give it a shot this weekend.
Yeah, can't wait to watch it. Before we let you go, Billy, it's been brilliant. Thank you again for coming on the pod. Just to finish, as we always do with a few of our guests, I'm going to ask you to kind of rack your brains here, but always after any local recommendations from players in terms of kind of cafes, bars, restaurants, food, markets, whatever it might be from their time playing in France. So I appreciate you had a little bit of space. So if you need the trip to France to kind of reignite those memories, fair enough. But if there's anywhere that comes to mind, anything you can share.
Well, initially I'd say Biarritz is a great place to visit. If you like surfing, you like the sea, it's beautiful there, and the people there are so friendly. Like I said, the market there in the centre of the town is just amazing. They look after you. They're big rugby fans out there. So I knew one of the butchers there. He used to give me deals on all the meat, which was class. And I used to go there every week and chat to him, and he loved it. And all he wanted to talk to me about was the game. So it shows how passionate they are. So yeah, if you're ever in Biarritz, have a look around the market. Food wise, wow, Toulouse, everywhere in France, I feel like the food's amazing. Obviously, Toulouse has so many restaurants I could tell you, and same for Biarritz and Agen, but I feel like everywhere out there, I didn't really go to many restaurants where I'm like, this is not quality or not good food, So yeah, the culture out there is way different. I feel like boys love to go out, love to eat in restaurants, love to enjoy life, and a lot of them drink red wine and PROD2 in the week, and it's a different lifestyle. But I really enjoyed my time there, and I'd highly recommend any player to get the chance to go out there and experience it. Like I said earlier, I feel like it's brought me on not just as a player but also as a bloke, and probably grown up a little bit living out there on my own and having to learn a language, go out of my comfort zone, and go and meet people and go do things on my own a lot, which was cool. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. And yeah, now being able to speak French is cool, and I think it's put me in a really good place coming back to Leicester, and it's probably why I've settled in so nicely here, being a bit more mature now, a bit more experienced. Yeah, just settled into the new environment so well. So I definitely recommend it to anyone if they get the chance, or even just go out for a little holiday. Like we had 2 weeks ago, we had a week off, and I went out to Toulouse, caught up with some people. It's quality, just I loved out there. So I think any chance I get now, I'll probably nip back out and see Jack or see some mates at Barrett or Arshen. It's cool.
In terms of being not mature, where was the best nightlife? Where was the best place to go out of the three towns? Because there'll be fans going to these places this weekend. It's still Toulouse, is it?
Yeah,
bit of Shea Tom Tom.
I did go there a couple of times.
That place is loose.
Yeah, it's loose. It's a loose city. I think it's got a good balance there, and the nightlife there is incredible. The bars, I like the bars more than the older now, more than the clubs. But it's a cool place, and it's always so lively. And it's a great time there. And after the games, there's always something on with the boys, and they're always doing team building stuff. And like you think at a club like that, it might not be like that, but they'll always be after every game. They'll be like, oh, we might meet here for a drink. It won't be crazy, but just get everyone together, and it was cool, and everyone in the city sort of knows who you are. It was a cool experience, and I love my time there.
Well, hopefully a few more France side memories on Saturday, maybe a recommendation for La Rochelle after that famous win. We'll be watching out. Billy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been brilliant, and of course, very best of luck for this Saturday and the season ahead as well.
No worries, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to Billy for joining us. Surprise to no one, Toulouse take things pretty seriously and do things pretty well.
I could listen to him talk about Toulouse for hours. I genuinely I could be like, but what about this? What happens here? But what do they do for this thing? I genuinely could fascinating.
I want to know what that watch looks like as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not doing things.
That felt a little bit brown envelope-y, to be honest, but
oh yeah. Mate, with the Jaminet stuff coming back round, we don't need to sell a powder keg of brown envelope related stuff. Yeah, I mean, what better way to kick off the Champions Cup previews than having someone who's going to be right in the thick of it joining us. So big thanks again to Billy. One of the, I would say, picks of the round. Yeah,
I was going to say, and probably the game of the round, right?
Looks pretty exciting. That, or I think the other one is probably Poe and Northampton.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're facing the Sharks. Well, do we want to preview the tournament as a whole very quickly? And I think generally can't imagine. Well, we normally do. Will the French teams turn up? I was going to go. Will the South African teams turn up? But I can't see a winner outside of a handful of teams. Really, I think it's you're looking at. Even from a French perspective, I think you're looking at Toulouse, Bordeaux, and that's probably maybe Toulon as an outside shot.
Maybe Toulon.
But I think you've kind of got Toulouse, Bordeaux, Leinster, as always, Northampton, Bath, Toulon, maybe Leicester, and we don't know what the South African teams are going to offer. South African teams are maybe Glasgow really well, offer something like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of. I guess it's the nature every year, but it feels like it has been compressed into that sort of top group. And actually, bizarrely, I think the end of last year's cup was refreshing in the sense that obviously Bordeaux are an outstanding side, and so are Northampton. But it felt like the stranglehold that Toulouse and Leinster had just wasn't going to be shifted. And that was the flip of the coin. So it was refreshing that, obviously the Northampton performance, well, both of them, the two semi-final performances from Bordeaux and Northampton last year were just exceptional, and it made for a really interesting end. But I tend to agree, it feels very, very unlikely that it's. I think those three: Bordeaux, Toulouse, Leinster. But I mean, Bath are pretty tasty, right? I think we both saw a bit of the Saracens Bath game yesterday. When they turn it on, it's quite something to behold. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think it could be the same old story come the back end.
Well, I guess then, in that context, I guess the question, our favourite game of will the French team turn up, is kind of in that context. I guess it's a relative question because there are only two or three French clubs that going into this with a genuine prospect of actually winning the thing. But I think some clubs will take this seriously, in my view. So shall we do it in order of top 14 last year?
Okay. Are we talking here this weekend or in general? Because
generally,
I think because I almost think the format now doesn't lend itself to this quite so, because you need to win fewer games, I think, to progress, right? So you don't need to be as I think the perfect example of this last year was, and maybe it's close to home, was Cast, right? Who got off to a half decent start at home, then won away miraculously at Saracens with a second team, and then you don't lose at home. So you have to kind of shift it. So I think this is like maybe slightly less black and white than it used to be, but I know where you're coming from.
I think it will be, when I say will the French teams turn up, there's an element of how strong are they going to go at home? Because I don't think all of these teams will go absolute full tilt at home. And will they pick anything remotely strong away? And I think you can say Toulouse, Bordeaux, Toulon they will turn up. Quite how strong Toulon go away generally, I don't know. But I think the others will go strong, albeit Bordeaux, and I'm really annoyed about this actually, they start their defence of their title with an away trip to South Africa. I think that's absolutely rubbish organisation. I think you have to start. That should really be the Friday night game. Should be Bordeaux hosting a game. Yeah,
I think that's probably fair.
And that is not a French bias thing. Like if a South African team had won it, I'd say
it should be the same.
Has to be they have to start at home. Last year's fourth place side, Bayonne. I don't think they're going to turn. I don't think they care.
Yeah, but again, I don't think they're gonna. They've got two tough visits, haven't they? They've got Leinster and the Stormers going to Stade Jean Daugé. So I think they will to an extent. And they'll rest properly away from home. I don't think they want. I don't think they'll go two in the competition at home.
But I don't think they'll go full tilt at both home games.
Okay,
but I do think Clermont will. I think Clermont will, partly because the kind of size of their squad dictates that they generally kind of keep it fairly similar. But I think they will. I think they've got such like a love affair with the European Cup that they still kind of believe in the romance of it in a way. And I think Christophe Urios kind of goes for that. And I think he doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he's going to roll over. I think they'll try and go for it. They were actually all right last year. Well, as good as they kind of should have been, really. They didn't underperform at all last year. I thought they were actually pretty good in Europe. Cast, are they going to turn up, Richard?
Well, I would say I think this will be like a full home and away split. I think they will be sending some pretty callow sides away from home, and then they've got to play Bath and who's their other home fixture? Edinburgh.
Okay, yeah.
So
they've got to go away to Munster, haven't they?
Yeah. So I think they will. I think it will just be a full half and half, like almost total rotation, unless they see Gloucester, who are struggling a bit as a team to pick off, which I hope they do, because I kind of it feels like last year was maybe a little bit of a turning point, but they have been so sticky in the top 14 that I wonder if that could go two ways, right? They could think this is a good opportunity to build some momentum in a really patchy season, or they might just go, no, we have to double down. I'd imagine history would suggest they'll lean towards the former, but we'll see. I
think like that's kind of the indictment of the competition that we've said before, is that it is, and loads of people have said, it's very easy to get out of the group stage. So like, they're almost like if they do go for it at Gloucester, they could easily win, and then they're in driving seat for like a home quarter final almost, or certainly a home last 16. Whereas I think, yeah, they could send a weekend side and still win, and therefore they might actually put some effort into it. But I think first up they probably won't do, and they don't really care enough. But if they did, then they would go full noise at this. Like you'd see an absolute full strength side going away to Gloucester, but I don't think they will. Well, La Rochelle, I think will. Yeah. I don't think they've got a choice, because they've got such a thin squad, and I think because the fan base, they've got those 2 wins. O'Gara loves it. I don't think it's in there. They're not kind of in their culture really these days. My boys, Section Powers, I think we could see a really changed up side at home as well. I think even this weekend at home to first European game in a while, I still think that could be, you could not see quite a few players there. I don't know.
Interesting.
I think they could be, because they didn't, well, it was Challenge Cup last year, but there was a kind of, they used the Challenge Cup last year to actually get some game time into some of the guys that are doing really, really well now. Whether they'll try and do the same this year, I don't know. And if they do, they could get walloped, certainly by a team like Northampton.
Yeah, I hope not. I think I'm sort of hoping we're beyond a little bit. I get there is rotation, and obviously there's 8 more games in a standard top 14 season, so there is necessity in this. But I think that I'm optimistically hoping that we don't get like sustained like write-off fixtures, because I feel like hopefully we've kind of gone beyond that because of the format of the tournament. I think it was like I can't remember. It was like Cass first away win in Europe for like 15 years or something absolutely ridiculous. I'd like to think, and I keep picking them out, but it's been the case for a few. I'd like to think we've gone beyond that, because Northampton should be such a good game.
Yeah,
like that should be like absolute. Yeah, 2 expansive sides playing. Well, Northampton got thumped at the weekend, but up to then, it'd be playing some pretty nice rugby. Yeah, and it's just that
they rested a few. They rested a few against Bristol, so they'll be.
I think they'll be going full click. It's exciting. I love it. I still love it.
Oh no, I absolutely love it still. Challenge Cup. There's pretty good sides in there from a French perspective. Do you think any of them are going to bother? Leon seemed to kind of fuddle their way through, but like the Paris sides could easily win that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Whether they'll bother, I don't know. I don't think they really care.
But I think, again, it's a case of I think it's kind of muddling through, and then you have, 3-4 games to win a trophy. I think that's it. I think we might see some real, like, lopsided. I think it could be the sort of tournament where you see some teams on paper, week-on-week form is, like, disintegrated, because... So, for instance, who have Stade Francais got this weekend?
Cardiff at home.
So Cardiff, and then the week after,
away.
Yeah, I mean, is that? Oh, that might be in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, it's in Amsterdam. Yeah.
So I just think you might see this kind of odd melee of fixtures. But I would say, in theory, certainly at the moment, Stade Francais are probably the best side in the competition. Whether that translates, like the Challenge Cup, like, amps it up even more in terms of the lottery. I think in terms of how a team's gonna approach it, until you get to the semi-final, and then you've got a chance to win something, which frankly just doesn't happen very often, does it? So understandably, teams start to switch on.
I think Leon have got a great chance again. They've got first 2 games of Newcastle at home, Dragons away.
Wow.
I think, they sent a pretty strong side last weekend, so that suggests that they might not go the strongest at home to Newcastle, but I don't think it will matter.
We don't know.
But there we go.
Well, anyway, loads to keep us busy. Should we move on to and I can't wait to look back at some of these fixtures. Yeah,
should we rattle through these fixtures then quickly this weekend? Bayonne hosting Stormers, that could actually be a really good game, depending on whether Bayonne pick a strong side. But I think Bayonne either way have got the pack to mix it.
Yeah.
And if you're new to French rugby, Bayonne's pack is genuinely really, really good. Clermont away at
Saracens.
Yeah.
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 I think Clermont are playing quite well. Bordeaux away to the Bulls.
Bordeaux.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think they'll go full click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that we previewed, Leicester La Rochelle.
It just feels like such a good Champions Cup game. La Rochelle to sneak it, but I think it could go either way. That genuinely,
I'll go Leicester. Going to back
as you should.
On that one. I think Northampton are going to beat Poe.
Do you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm waiting for the Poe collapse to happen. At some point, it's going to be a complete meltdown, and it could be Northampton putting 100 points on them at the Hamo this weekend. I don't know.
Fair enough.
With the under-18. Toulouse Sharks. We saw the reverse of last year, and Toulouse won.
Toulouse.
I think Toulouse will win that.
Sharks have had a horrible start again, haven't they?
Gloucester Cast. Give me Cast.
Cast in an open one. In a wild one. Yeah. I did actually look at train tickets down on Sunday for that, but I think it might be a bit fiddly.
And then Edinburgh Toulon.
I don't know much about Edinburgh.
I don't think they're getting that wild this year.
In fact, I know nothing about Edinburgh other than
they are 10th.
Bowen Venter has come through and suddenly ripping up scrums for the Springboks.
Yeah.
Toulon.
They should have enough. Toulon got quite a good squad, like across the board
have
now, I think. So
I think they really have. And I think they might arguably. Are you more likely to win the Champions Cup than the top 14? I don't know. Possibly.
I think they kind of realised that a little bit last year.
I think maybe
they did go for it.
They'll target it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, too long.
They've got Bath at home next week. That could be like the game of the group stage. That.
Yeah, that is a really nicely set up one. Challenge Cup, Racing go to Ulster. That's quite nicely set.
Ulster will win that though.
Ulster, Stade Francais, I think will probably be too strong for Cardiff. Montpellier have got to go to Georgia.
Yes,
Black Lion. Oof. Oh,
I think they'll win. I think.
I have no idea. I don't really follow Georgian club rugby, but what a trip that is. Could that be one where there are no away fans?
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly.
Well, it's a genuine question. Who are they allowed to take? Is it wise taking Stuart Hogg and Wilfred Umpatan and Mohamed Awas to Tbilisi?
You've got criminal records. You're probably not getting in, are you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it's against French Foreign Office advice. I don't know. Anyway, quite a few subplots to that one. Lyon, I think, will beat Newcastle. Perpignan Dragons, Perpignan to get off the mark. Have you seen their away kit? Their third kit? No.
Oh, they've relaunched the Harlequin number. It's a beauty. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Very nice promo. Load of old players, including Nicolas Mass in the bar in Perpignan somewhere. Very good job from Perpignan. Hopefully their first win of the season. Yeah.
Did you say Montauban Zebre?
No, I didn't. Montauban going to Zebre. Montauban, they're going to do it. Two lovely spots. Palmer and Montauban feel like kindred spirits. It's lovely little enclaves. Rob, I'm desperate to, as much as I don't want to wish it away, but we've got so many great rounds coming up. We obviously park the top 14 for a bit, but in a round where there were, on the surface, not a lot going on, all home wins, kind of all going to form, bubbling below, quite a lot happened. And maybe
just a little bit.
Do we want to start with the comebacks and farewells, or do we want to start with some interesting cards to set the scene? Because
it was the round of Tekken. We had a headbutt, we had a kung fu kick.
But it's refreshing, isn't it? There's been so much talk about red cards, sendings off, referees. A mistimed tackle here. Was there a wrap there? Too much interpretation. Was the arm tucked? It's refreshing to see the headbutt and the kung fu kick coming back into the game. Maybe let's start with Racing Toulouse, because there's a lot happening there. The return of Antoine Dupont, the farewell game for Peter Arquis,
which they did a lovely job of doing.
Yeah, really.
A little round of applause on 12 minutes. I really like that. Like a minute's applause at the 12-minute mark. I really enjoyed that. There's a lot of the big faces.
Yeah.
But they all had a little banner as well. There was all sorts going on. I was really disappointed that he missed the conversion at the end. I was this guy can do everything on a rugby.
It's criminal, that, isn't it?
And make it look really simple, and he's just hooked it. I'm so disappointed in that.
Yeah. Peter Arquis as well, who, we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I think we said that he's heading back to, is it the Blues? Is he going to play for? One of the... I feel since there's lots of talk about him being incredibly underrated, and I think since then a lot of media coverage, social media has gone the other way in terms of just doubling down on how fantastic a player he has been, and one of the leading centres in Europe for the last decade, arguably as part of one of, if not the most impressive team during that time. Like a phenomenal player who is just part and parcel of that club. And, perhaps unsurprising if Billy Searle gets a watch after 5 games, then Peter Arquis gets a haka and a full stadium stand-off, which is very cool. Yeah, an incredible career, basically.
I do think, mate, and there's so much going on, but maybe it's a conversation for another time. I do think he is the most underrated player in the top 14 this decade. In the 2020s. I struggle to think of anyone that comes close.
Yeah.
I think to be the glue man in arguably the best club side of all time, certainly one of them, you're pretty damn good, aren't you?
You also, because I was looking on Instagram at a lot of the farewell stuff, and it was his wife is Luke McAllister's sister.
I think I've heard that before, actually.
Who also, I'm pretty sure she represented, All Black, and represented New Zealand at Olympic Sevens. Fairly handy rugby family, it's fair to say. Very, very cool. So yeah, that was amazing.
If they've got a son, their son is going to be the best 12 of all time.
Yeah, it's a decent mix, isn't it? Peter Aki departs. Antoine Dupont returns, which is very cool. I resisted the urge to put out a really naff tweet or comment about how everyone was actually applauding Georges-Henri Colombe coming onto the pitch when he came back, because that's where my attention was after his injury. But I mean,
well, according to BBC Sport, he came on at 9. Big GH. He was.
Oh, did he?
Dupont came on at tight head, but Georges-Henri Colombe came on for Paul Grau.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you know my views on Paul Grau, mate. Yeah. That's to me. That's a good shout.
Some people see that as there's nothing Dupont can't do. I see that as there's nothing Georges-Henri Colombe can't do.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, it's fantastic to see one of the most exciting sportsmen in the world back, and he looked pretty all right, didn't he? I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, there was nothing magical.
No,
he was. I just can't believe how unflappable he is and how understated he is in all of that. How you can have that much fanfare on you and just look like you
wander on and
look like you're waiting for a bus.
Be very just do the nuts and bolts well. Dodgy segue. Talking of nuts, I don't know if that's definitely not a French word, but Yannick Tarrant. I've seen some people get nutted in my time. Is it a uniquely French sporting thing that you headbutt people? I always assumed, I mean, I've been in the square root of one fight in my life where I basically didn't land a thing, but I thought traditionally the headbutt was to the head. I thought that was the rule. When I saw Ephraim Elias, I think it was, lying on the floor, grasping his stomach, there was no part of me that expected the cause of that to have been a diving header from the Racing hooker. It's one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen. Like, what can you say about it? It's so ridiculous.
It's not like you're talking about headbutts to the torso. At least with Zidane and Materazzi, like there was a bit of preamble, and you could see that there's something went on. The game's finished. It's half time. Carbonneau just rolls it back, gives it to Max Spring, and Max Spring just nudges it off the field, and they're all trotting off. And then next thing you know, Ephraim Elias is on the deck, barely able to breathe. Like, it probably gets him in like the solar plexus as well. It doesn't seem called for in any way. It's completely unnecessary. And they go from 8-3 to 15-3.
Yeah.
And obviously 14. But they're going off the field there with quite a good first half.
Yeah. It's a proper coach killer, isn't it?
It's just madness. It's utter madness. I genuinely, I can't think of a cheaper shot in rugby either.
Yeah,
like a more egregiously obvious cheap shot as well. Not like, obviously there's like the odd like dark arts at the bottom of a ruck.
Yeah, and if you, I think obviously just seeing someone fly through the air like that is a bit mental and slightly amusing. Obviously, Elias, thankfully, is all right because it's a pretty big hit. I think he scored the try, didn't he? Actually,
scored a try, and then Johnny Hill goes up and slaps him on the stomach, which is just shithousery. What a moron!
Mate, I love Johnny Hill. That was quite rogue. But as you say, in terms of being a cheap shot, if you swing around and punch someone in the stomach, like it's beyond cheap. So if you do it with your head, it doesn't. I imagine that's going to be a pretty tasty ban.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
The
other mind-blowing thing about it is Tual Trainini, despite it happening in front of him, missed it.
Oh, mate, he's useless. Absolutely useless. Moving on to the other excellent. I do want to just on that. Matthias Rameau was excellent. He's so good. He's so good at sidestepping and just a fantastic young player. He could be like. He needs a new club.
Yeah. Well, I'm gutted he's not going to be at the next World Cup more than anything.
Yeah, that is a shame. Moving on to the other fabulous red card over the weekend. Antoine Astor, I believe the fastest ever in the top 14, which perhaps is unsurprising given it was 33 seconds or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's when the clock stopped. He did it in like 24 seconds.
The only time I've seen this before was years ago when Paolo Adogru did it.
Yeah.
And it was, I think that was even more blatant.
The one that Mertz reference was, there was Geordie Barrett did one a few years ago in the Rugby Championship, didn't he?
Yeah, if you haven't seen this, essentially it's, how do you describe it? Antoine Astor up for a high ball, kicks Aaron Grandidier and Canal in the face. I don't think he doesn't like extend to like smack him, but his leg is out in a place it probably shouldn't be.
In the slow-mo and watching it, it's one of those ones I actually think it's slightly better for Hastori the more you watch it. But when you first see it, he catches it and then he sees a player coming to him and he flicks the leg up and that leg hits Aaron Grandidier squarely in the mouth. The more I watch it, I think, I don't know, but what is his leg doing up there anyway? It's not a particularly natural reaction.
I do think
there's up like that.
But you just like
to flick out. You can keep your knee there and keep get your legs up. Everyone does that. But I think to like actually extend the knee or flex the knee remotely is unnatural, and therefore Jeremy Rosier is like, as letter of the law, he's kicked him in the face. His leg is up.
Yeah,
that is dangerous play. Red card.
Yeah, I'd see why it's a red card. I can also see why it might be like, if the point of an orange is to punish foul play, but that perhaps isn't totally deliberate, I kind of see that maybe fitting there. Because it's not like he's booted a bloke on the face. He's prone on the floor like he is. And there is obviously there's a sort of weird thing here where the responsibility of contact is the defender, not the guy who's up in the air. So I can see why there's a bit of frustration, but also just don't hang your leg out when someone's coming in.
I think all things considered is a red. I think even with an orange card being an option, I still think it's a red.
I think it's a red, but not. This is the sort of thing that I think I'd like to not see some like massive ban for it, because I don't think it's like, I don't think Astor is set out to actually tekken someone in the face, but he's got it wrong. I'll be honest, that is pretty much the only thing I've seen of this game. High scoring.
Did you see Rog finger wagging afterwards?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. Rog
and
was
did you see
in
Rog
full
get
Rog
red
mode.
Card?
I did see that. Yes. Yeah.
To be fair to Ronan O'Gara, the one that he loses his nut over is actually quite a harsh penalty against La Rochelle. I think it's probably an illegal bit of jackling from Fakunduisa, but that happens on like 50-something minutes, and he has been an absolute pest for the preceding 53 minutes. Like, he is just effing and blinding at absolutely everything and shouting. And there's a scrum penalty, which again I think is quite harsh. Could have gone either way, and he's just you don't need to be that much of a lip reader to see what he's saying. He was a pain in the arse. I was amazed it took him that long to get
sent off.
Because he could have gone at the first. He didn't need to lose his rag quite so much at the Hastoy thing, and he could easily
have constantly bubbling under a bit, isn't it?
Antoine Hastoy, who went and sat alongside another La Rochelle player who I didn't quite recognise, and Jerome Ray. Like, he was just sat with the Po players. Or like, well, I don't know what. I assume Jerome Ray wasn't sat with the La Rochelle players, but they were just on the sidelines trying to make the best of his return back to his old club, see some old mates maybe.
Why not?
It was a pretty wild game. I do think, on a general note, that there was a lot of penalties and a lot of cards, and I think it was actually an even penalty count in the end. But towards the end, it just got a bit silly, and La Rochelle had a point of like starting to he's against us now. This is fucking ridiculous, and complaining. And then by the end, they were like, let's just keep committing penalties because it doesn't matter. I've given up.
It was farce.
Yeah, it was. And Poe definitely got the rub of the green. I'm not going to shy away from that. I don't think they were actually that good to get a attacking bonus point against a team with they scored 53 points, which is impressive. And actually their maul game was very impressive. Bearing in mind the player that went off was a back, their maul game was really impressive. Montoya doing what he brought to Leicester, which is being very good at that. They always talked about the skill that Leicester, that like Ben Kay was always like, that's a genuine skill that he has. He also had a charging run, which was class. It was like have you seen that? It leads to a try. Hugo Ordu does like a full rotation and then like pop. I don't know if it's a set play or not, but he like pops it up to Montoya, charges through from like halfway. But Poe were very good at times. Arfoy looks great. They use him really well. Browbury was absolutely phenomenal. He's the players he's going over are like Aldrit and Jegu, and he's just Bottier and he's muscling through them. But yeah, there we go. Poe. And Rhys Hewitt played about half an hour in the back at centre.
Oh, nice.
Gaeton went off, and I was like, he looked very confused about suddenly being shunted into the centre. But Poe were pretty sloppy. They kind of tried their best not to. The ref helped them get the attacking bonus point.
So as we mentioned at the top there, everything went home form. It goes to not the numerically closest, but perhaps the biggest chance spurned was Bordeaux away at Montpellier. Another outstanding clipped up moment you might have seen was Mathieu Jalabert's sublimely executed crossfield kick behind his own goal line, which was a hell of a touch. But
if that goes half a metre one way, that is own try of the season wrapped up. Kicking it at your own post on your own goal line. He kicks it backwards. He's actually he kicks it from about the try line and it lands inside the dead ball area to whoever, I think it's Buros, collects it. It is ridiculous. He was fizzing in this game. Like it looked like he was about to, because Montpellier ran away to an early lead in the first half. It looked like he was about to run riot and just steal it all single-handedly. But yeah, like second week in a row, the Bordeaux line-out just completely let them down. I think it was patchy throughout the game. They showed a kind of package of it falling apart under both hookers. Some of the throwing was bad, but again, it was kind of like 78 minutes. It was really similar to like Poe last week, 78 minutes, 5 metre line or kind of inside the opposition 22, needed to try to win and just completely like fucked it, basically. Just kind of gave it to the opposition. And they even had another chance to win it back and they lost that one as well. Yeah,
back to back.
They had good stats in the Champions Cup last year for throwing. So we kept saying, like, oh, this is if you can get to Bordeaux, it's their stats, it's their line out. But their stats were actually really good. But I think it is, even with Barlow there, it's not improved loads. Well, it looked really good at times against Poe last week. But I thought it was a cracking game overall. And Lenny Nucci needs to play for France.
Outstanding, wasn't he? Again.
It's just 2 more tries. He's on like 6 tries for the season.
Yeah, he just does everything. It's just that sort of like aggression allied with a bit of maybe just a little bit more rugby brain in terms of hit some lovely lines and things, doesn't he? But like aggression brain and just a little bit of spark as well. I think when we spoke about maybe what's missing a little bit in the French back row, and notwithstanding the fact we know international rugby is a different beast, but there's just that little bit quicker off the mark, little bit more aggression, a little bit more with the feet, I think, than some of the options they've got there. And I think for me, particularly in a 7-1 bench, like there's got to be space for him, or we've obviously Kapia, we kind of haven't seen too much of in the last few weeks, but I think Nucci, given the squads he's been in, is front runner and deservedly so, I'd hope.
Yeah, I think he was really good in Argentina when he got his caps, but he's not been helped by picking up an injury just before the summer tour, picking up an injury just before this autumn campaign. But there we go.
Yeah,
I think I thought Billy Vunipola was pretty good as well. Like they kind of he does a lot of the really dirty, like heavy lifting. For the try, Vunipola essentially goes nowhere. For the Nucci second try, Vunipola's carry basically is like stopped dead on the gain line, but it sucks people in, and therefore and there's just the half gap, which Nucci then uses his nous and his kind of spark to kind of spot that and get through. But it's helped by having a big old unit like Billy Vunipola there.
Yeah, definitely.
Elsewhere, pretty tight in a few games. Yeah, it's quite tight generally. But
Stade Francais nearly raided the Marcel Michelin, lost, I think, last play of the game to Clermont. Lyon within 2 points at the Stade Jean Daget, which I didn't have down as being particularly close.
2 very good sides in that game. Bayonne went really strong and Lyon went really strong, which I think you would if your next game was Newcastle at home, with all due respect.
Well, just a bit of respect.
Absolute zero respect given that.
But yeah, I take your point. Castres Perpignan was probably tighter for a longer period of time than Castres would have liked it, albeit I know they spurred, I think, in the first 10 minutes, not one over the line, one held up and one ruled out for a forward pass, which feels very Castres this year. They've strung some nice stuff together, but have struggled to execute, I guess. But a win nonetheless. And what have we missed? Montauban.
They sent a pretty weak side. I would have thought
too long. Quite a high scorer, wasn't it?
I was quite disappointed with Montauban for that, because there's no real point in them. They could build confidence in the Challenge Cup, but there's no real point in them trying to win it, because they surely want to. It's going to cost them loads of money, and they surely want to try and stay in the top 14. And Toulon, their side, looked as though it was a little bit focused on the Champions Cup. So they could have been there for the taking, but they just sent such a weak side. It didn't look very strong. It wasn't their first choice front row. It wasn't their first choice halfbacks. That's our rule for have they picked a strong side?
Yeah.
Thomas
fair
Lozano.
enough.
So do you remember Carl Wilkins said Thomas Lozano is a former Argentinian player, like really good player? That was his 5th appearance for Montauban in 3 seasons
Wow.
because of injuries.
That's horrible.
That's a tough run.
Yeah, that's grim. Well, hopefully we'll see a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave the top 14 there. We'll come back and finish off PROD2 and a couple of Petit-Fours. Rob, PROD2 looked home winsy, so it turned out. The Thursday night game was okay viewing. It was hard
Foggy.
to see at points because of the fog. Bit of a PC pro over semi-possible viewing.
No, I thought it was quite a good game, and Colomiers played some great attacking rugby and defended pretty well. They just conceded a load of yellow cards and therefore didn't quite have enough to get over the line. But they made a fair old crack of it. Brive could have run away with it. I think Colomiers, they're going to be there or thereabouts. We get another view of them this week, but I thought, yeah, I'm enjoying Colomiers at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play on Thursday night at home to Grenoble, I think it is. That's the FI UK YouTube Thursday night game, which should be, because Grenoble as well have been a bit better on the road recently, haven't they? They've sort of, without perhaps big results, have tested some pretty good sides, and maybe coming out of the other end of, well, A, injury crisis, and B, getting players back from particularly the likes of, well, hopefully sort of Portugal and maybe Namibia as well.
Yeah.
So that could be really nicely set, and be interesting to see how Colomiers fare at home as well.
Yeah. Because Hardwick was on the bench last week.
Was he back?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And I don't know, Costastoti didn't play, but they're kind of, I don't think the injury crisis is over, because they had a guy playing for them, Louis Marie, or Lewis Mary, if you're English, who
gone from Bordeaux, or back from
Bordeaux. Yeah, so he was at Dax last year. Quite a good, talented young prop. Moved to Bordeaux, hasn't played at Bordeaux, but they've had to, because they seem to always have a prop crisis or a hooker crisis at Grenoble, despite having loads of them. Maybe some sort of meat grinder scrum coach is like, yeah,
battering lads.
It's like Richard Cocker on steroids. Yeah, I think they're kind of they're not blowing sides away, but I think the fact they are now picking up some results and showing some performances is a good sign. So that should be a really good game. But yeah, I was really impressed for Colomiers by Thomas Adelaide, basically like a massive unit in the second row that was playing like Peter Aki. He was kind of doing like 20-meter miss passes, like wraparounds. He was doing like dummy runs. He was playing like a kind of Andre Esterhazen, Peter Aki type inside centre, despite being 6'6" or whatever he was.
I think is he on loan from Toulon, or have I made that up?
Oh, he could be. He looked like a proper player. Keep going. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll try and find an answer to that.
Well, I'll just sum up a couple of the other results that sort of, well, went as expected. Valence-Nevers, Valence won. It's 13-3, which for a side that have scored more points than anyone else prior to this game was a little bit surprising, but perhaps the weather was not great. Van beat Agen-Provence, overcame Carcassonne, Oyonnax beat Béziers.
Valence remains our second, by the way.
They've had an amazing season.
This time last year, they were second bottom.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And deservedly so as well. They've been absolutely brilliant, and some brilliant away wins in there too.
I think Thomas Adelaide came from Toulon.
Okay.
But he hasn't actually played for them. He was at Bourgoin last year, but he was at Toulon for a couple of seasons. He started at US Robert. Don't know where that is. I need to track it down. They might have to be my team. Find out where US Robert are. There's one game we need to talk about though, Richard. The only away win in the top two divisions. The LAC beating our boys, Soy Angoulême.
I think two things in there on this. One, the try to win it is as good a try to win a game as you'll ever see. Basically, scrum gone the length after a scrum on their own line. Well worth a watch if you can dig it out. Second thing is probably the footage that followed of Alexandre Ruiz essentially absolutely, for one of, I don't know what the French word for bollocking is, but that's basically what was happening on the pitch afterwards, in full view of all the TV cameras.
Yeah.
And not something I expected of of him and the old Phil Brown treatment on the pitch. I don't quite know what to make of it. And a weekend where there's some odd goings on and some people in hot water. I don't know if he came out particularly well from this.
It's just another part of the madness of the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, because they have lost in the last few minutes 3 times now at home, is it? Definitely did it against Biarritz, and they've definitely done it against Aurillac. So teams they should be beating. They've got the second worst home record in the league, only better than Carcassonne. So that's relegation form at home. And they're losing games against weak teams that they should be beating. So I think there's an element of kind of fair enough that he's angry. But some of the stuff that he is using is it's this shame, it's disgraceful, it's shameful. He said, I think at one point it's like, oh, we're a proud team, my arse, something like that, or like we're a strong team, we're together, my arse. Like it's really not pulling any punches. It's properly, I think, because we see it.
I wonder if we need to see it would be my question.
Well, for all we know, that sort of thing happens the whole time in French rugby anyway. Like it could do, and it just happens that was a game that was on TV, and there seems to be this thing with Canal Plus at the moment where they are able to get those on the pitch huddles and get the audio for them and film them. It may happen the whole time, because some of the players I don't think any of them look, well, it's hard to read too much into it, but they didn't look particularly like pissed off by it, or like none of them like shaking their heads. It was kind of all taking the licks.
Yeah, I don't know. I just question whether that needs to be on the pitch in full view of cameras. But maybe if they go on to win 5 in a row now, it'll look like a masterstroke. But
they've got Béziers away next week. That's an interesting one.
What a big game.
It's winnable.
Go on then. Definitely. Oh, and we also, before we move on to next week very quickly, haven't mentioned Dax in the Lon Derby, a proud side, Stade Montois Mont-de-Marsan, who have been okay at points at home, despite them being near the bottom of the league, got absolutely dispatched. Was it 68?
Worst away side in the league, I think.
Just a total battering.
They're averaging 50 points away conceded.
In a game that is, half an hour up the road, and your closest rival that's kind of, if you're looking for if teams and sides sometimes need a rock bottom, then that has got to be it, I would think, before something changes.
They were crap.
Albeit credit to Dax, who have been on quite a nice little run recently.
Yeah, Dax played some really good rugby, but Mont-de-Marsan, and they got a lot of the players back fit now, but they were bullied. They were bullied up front by Dax. Vatabua was class, which I guess if they've struggled to get him fit. If you've got a guy that's got a decent amount of pedigree in the top 14 that's on form, I think every PROD2 side probably has like 1 or 2 of those players, and if you get them on the day they fire, then good luck. But we saw when Nene was tearing up last year, it was partly because he had Vatabua inside him and they had a really nice combo. So they've got him fit, they've got Nicera fit, and they're picking a settled pack, which I think helps. I do think this, like Billy said, he was like, why are we rotating so much? I do think these teams are, I know PROD2 is a ridiculously long season, but part of me think, well, it's necessary for Dax because they have a small squad, but it's helping at the moment. I also wonder whether, like, that was pretty boggy pitch. I wonder if, like, the style of play, Dax will do well in winter because it's massive blokes.
Proper heavy blokes.
It's properly enormous blokes. A lot of them quite old as well. So maybe that's why they were getting run rings around early on, because on faster pitches they were struggling. But I wonder if they might be all right now for a period of time. And you'd expect Mont-de-Marsan to be like that, but they're way off the pace in terms of physicality.
It's Dax season we're coming into. All right, next week, Rob, pick out a couple that take your interest. We've spoken about Colomiers, Grenoble. Anything else for you?
Well, Soyongalam away at Béziers. Bit of derby, Aurillac Brive. I think that's an interesting one because Aurillac are going really, really well. And Brive, I wasn't entirely impressed with them on Thursday night from what I saw. Like, they were good, but they weren't fantastic.
Not hard to be up for that if you're Aurillac, is it? Like, sort of local or localist derby. Yeah, it's sort of your classic, like, haves versus have-nots a little bit. So I imagine it'll be absolutely bumping at the Jean Alric.
Yeah. And Agen v Provence is another one that's
nice.
Agen have lost 3 on the spin now.
Yeah.
Which is...
After we just bigged up how well
Yeah.
they've been going with Billy earlier.
And Provence are going pretty well there. So that'll be a real test for Agen and a real test for Provence because they seem to be winning away games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Rob, Petit-Fours Digestifs to close us out. Anything exciting that's caught your eye this week?
Well, I've just realised that we didn't mention it in our PROD2 roundup. Did you see the Van game or any of the Van game from Friday night? And then specifically their kit.
I have seen the kit. I've also seen the little medallion and collector's box that you get if you buy one of those shirts, which is very cool. I'm not entirely sure of the history, but red and white.
It's the first colours they wore.
Okay.
Which I think was only in like the 50s because there was a guy that I think they're quite a young club, but B, also I think as part of the kit announcement they had like Maxime Lafarge meeting like one of the blokes.
Okay.
But as we know, Richard, because we've been there and the flag is everywhere, red and white with the stoat is but red and white is the town's colours.
Yeah.
And of the colours of the town flag. But there was also on some of their social media there was like the original logo as well, which was really cool. Like the old RCV.
That doesn't surprise me.
I think we did see a little bit of when we were there. But yes, that was the reason behind that kit. I think I should keep that as an away kit.
Yeah, it's smart, isn't it?
It's
kind of like
it's
almost a bit of a rugby league style, like
Talent.
V in the middle. Yeah, it's nice. Very good.
On the red V.
Kits aside, I spoke about the Perpignan kit earlier. That is a beauty. Have a look if you haven't seen it already.
I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it earlier, but I'll send
it to you.
Okay.
It's a very good one. A couple of bits from my side. Did you see Beauden Barrett was a rugby club Beaune, I think it's called, Babeaune. And then another club called Côte and Saône, I think it's called. I butchered it, but essentially they are rugby clubs around Burgundy because Beauden Barrett has been on a bit of a wine tour with a wine merchant, a guy by the name of Karim Malik, who apparently has connections with at least one of those clubs. So Beauden Barrett, amidst tasting a load of fantastic, arguably some of the best wine in the world from Burgundy, has been dropping into some like under 15s training as well to say hi, which is very, very cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find this.
Nice. Yeah, it's on. Have a look on, as we often call out, Rugby Amateur. Give him a follow on Instagram if you don't already. Yeah, very, very good stuff from him. And then the other thing I saw
just another thing that we similar line we call out a lot is brilliant Ilta Daffith and his blog, newsletter. Jouet, the French
Substack. Very good. Subscribe.
One of the thing that is similar there was Teddy Bobigny and Gavin Villiers were on holiday in Marrakesh and went and coached some of the youngsters down at Marrakesh Rugby Club while they were on holiday. That was something I picked up from Ilted. I've got more that I've basically just stealing off Ilted, but you can go next.
Well, the final one I had was sort of a little gastronomic nod. So we've seen like Gail Drayan and Brian Alanoisi cooking in that restaurant in Toulon, a few signature dishes. But it's slightly more serious fare in Albi, which is definitely somewhere I think is on our list to visit. It looks like a beautiful city, side going very nicely in National. But their back row, Guillaume Calamon, was on discussing their annual Albi MasterChef competition, which I believe takes place throughout the year, possibly in like more of a kind of come dine with me style format.
Nice,
but yeah, apparently annual tradition taken pretty seriously down at Albi.
Oh, very good. Well, you could go to Albi if you're an Edinburgh fan going to watch Cast game. This is a dubious segue. Cast have been very busy in the transfer market, Richard. We mentioned Taylor Gontignac, the Romanian international, who is still at Béziers for now, but I think they've secured him for next season as they have Chris Gabriel, a young Kiwi lock. They are close to securing Braden Enner and Montauban's Killian Ringay, who's a very good player. They are also apparently eyeing up Quokka Smith.
I did see this. How good would that be?
That'd be amazing. The other things that I've stolen from Ilted's Jouet. You know, Rafael Costastorti is doing a podcast or vodcast or like an interview series.
Yes, yeah.
He spoke to his teammate at Grenoble, Antonin Berrier. I know nothing about the context of this. But Antonin Berrier, the premise of the interview was about how Antonin Berrier was coming back from suffering a stroke.
Oh my God.
And he's playing Pro Day. I don't know how long ago it was, but the fact that anyone has suffered a stroke and is playing back row in Pro Day Dirt is mind-boggling. However, the best thing that was in last week, and it was on last week, and if you went to it, please let us know. Last week, Richard, was the Paris Cornichon Festival.
Oh, what?
Which was basically like a few restaurants around the city doing special menus to celebrate Cornichons. There were other special events like Cornichon Invasion, Les Champions du Cornichon, pickle eating contest, and a raclette party. One of the things had a fountain of Cornichons. That was a thing at one point. And one of the events, which I think was possibly the Cornichon Invasion, had the election of Miss Pickle 2025.
Wow.
Which I think is basically a fancy dress competition. So like he mentioned it on his newsletter, and I was like, "This is he having us on?" And he put a link to like the Instagram page, and I had to do some serious digging to work out what the hell happens during Paris Cornichon Festival. They had very cool posters as well, but kind of sums up how the French Parisians, they can make a celebration out of any food whatsoever.
Fantastic. Oh, it sounds like I just missed it. One for next year.
Yeah,
missed this year. Both times, well, not that we were there, but we just missed out on realising when Espelette festival was. I think that's sort of back end of October. Cornichon Festival. We need to get ahead of these things in future. Right, I think we're there. Being as it deserves, because we love the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup and Pro Day there, and it's all on our plate this week. So I hope you've enjoyed. Big thanks again to Billy Searle for joining us. Can't wait to watch that game down in La Rochelle this weekend. In the meantime, follow us on at Rosbiff Rugby across pretty much everything. Email us rosbiffrugby@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for, I think we're going to try and get a few bits out around sort of Champions Cup.
Fact files for the Champions Cup with some recommendations. Try and get that out.
Yeah.
Try and put our collective heads together, maybe to help you tee up
through some
double headers as well, because there are still loads of options that we haven't even talked about in terms of double headers as well. So yeah,
plenty going on. And keep an eye out as well with our mates at All Things Rugby for some of the weekly columns we've been doing. But yeah, in the meantime, Rob, I guess enjoy the return of the Champions Cup. Can't wait. And in the meantime, well, I've been Richard, that's been Rob. We'll be glued to the TV all weekend, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. So, au revoir.
Au revoir.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.